in these like spurts of and a friend of mine, when I played it for them, was like, this sounds like a memory. And I put my fist in the air. I was like, yes.
Through so many different like iterations as well.
Oh yeah. I originally wrote it. I originally wrote it for a musical, a piece that I'm actually working on with you. Actually, yeah. And it's been really special. I originally was gonna scrap it because I had written it for guitar, vocals, and a string quartet, and I don't know. I didn't envision it existing outside of that. But then this last summer, I went to a party, and I was sort of out of it at this party, and I had these things that I call visions that I've told you a lot about, Nat, but
yeah, I've heard about the visions.
They're like these like what if memories. So it's like when the past and the present and like what the future could have been fold over on each other. And they have
really
this
communicated that with the song.
Thank you.
With the use of all the different sampling. Do you want to tell us a little bit? I don't know.
Yeah,
where
yeah.
that comes from?
So the sort of spurts of stuff in the intro, I call them my visions. And I've sampled crazy amounts of things that mean so much to me. I could do a song exploder with this, but, you know, I have, like, my friend Zoe, her laugh is sampled in there. Like, you, Nat, are sampled talking in there. Like, there's synths, there's piano sounds that I made with my friend Nico. They're all in there. You've got our friend Ben playing drums. You know, I put every sound that had any sort of meaning to me at all in these like spurts of and a friend of mine, when I played it for them, was like, this sounds like a memory. And I put my fist in the air. I was like, yes. This was the first one that sort of brought synths and sampling, but it was actually, Nat, because of you, I got into this stuff. I'd never sampled drums before. I was not a crazy synth head, but it wasn't until my time...
influence only grows.
It wasn't until my time in prophetry that I sort of realized how fun and cool and interesting that stuff is. I think, you know, sampled drums and found sounds have always been something I've been interested in. I mean, I found it... I showed you that old song that I wrote in freshman year of high school.
Oh, yeah.
Of, like, I sampled birds and space noises and whatever.
And there was some of that on previous projects, but this is really at the forefront.
Yeah. And you know what? Shout out to my teacher, Jeff Peretz, for suggesting that I use found sounds as drums. I think this was the first song I showed to Jeff when I came to Clive. And originally this had like a real drummer on it, had a full kit and everything. And Nat engineered for that. And I showed that to Jeff, and Jeff was like, this does not match the vibe. You have all these found sounds, and the drums are just too real. You need to try to find a way to explore experimental drums.
You sampled a lot of like found sound stuff, and I like doing that too. I was wanting to ask about your process doing that. Like, do you look for things? Like, do you think of something specific and look for something, or do you just like scroll through and like see if you find anything? Or, like, do you start with that? Or do you, like have a song first and then find stuff that fits it?
Yeah. I at least, my process, at least with found sounds, changes a lot. With this song, I wrote the song first and, like, knew I wanted it to have, like, the voices of people talking. Like the main sample is, like, a sample of Zoe laughing. And then there's a sample of, like, me and Rachel driving in a car, my friend Rachel Goodman. And then the other ones are, like, from my camera roll all the way back to, like, 3rd grade. And I think I'm also, like, super meticulous with how I make found sounds. Like, I know a lot of people make their glitchy stuff sort of, like, haphazardly but I like make sure every syllable and like S sound is like in the perfect spot. Like if we go through the Ableton, like I cut it all up by hand, and I feel like it's less like how the sound is, but more who's saying it. And I think that was the reason, like how all these sounds ended up in there, because it was just like I want my friends on my song.
I just wanted to ask. I'm curious. How was the songwriting like length for how long it took for you to write this song, and also specifically like what were the biggest changes you made throughout the songwriting process?
I spent Thanksgiving in New York here away from my family last year, and a bunch of my friends hung out back in LA without me. And so in my like sadness, sat alone in my dorm, I like wrote this song really fast. I maybe wrote this one in like the course of like an hour. But then over the year, like the year and a half, I sort of sat with it before I sort of like landed on the final lyrics. It was like little situations, I can play it. In the car, I'm driving you, feeling the weight of the news. That is one of the like newest lines, or the whole second half of the song truly is brand new. I think the only thing that stayed were the choruses, because I was really obsessed with the fact that I wrote adolescent make-believe, and I just patted myself on the back for that one for months.
Really rolls off the tongue.
Ooh, and if you ask me, I would say plainly, this is only adolescent